The title, X Lion Tamer, is a reference to the song's original lyrics, which were completely different and involved a lion tamer.
I was
At
gonna
some
say,
point,
okay. There's
the
some
band
clarity.
scrapped them entirely and wrote new lyrics. And instead of giving the track a new name, they simply added the X at the front of its working title.
Oh,
Brilliant.
you can't get more inside than that. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. I'm Andy, that's John over there, and we're going to dig into some music today, a song offered up by John. So, sir, what'll it be?
So we're going back to a band we covered before, and that band is Wire.
Oh, okay.
So we've listened to Kidney Bingos on Into the Music,
Yeah.
and then Too Late and Outdoor Miner on this channel. So the track I'm giving you is X Lion Tamer.
Okay, that's very interesting line of work and title. So, yeah, let me go off and give this thing a spin. I'll bring my chair, whip, and top hat and see what I'm in for, and then come back and let you know. There's almost a little bit of Jack White to this kind of jagged, distorted guitar. That's just an observation, not a complaint. I'm a big fan. Yeah, digging this.
There's great danger for the loneliest stranger in town. No silver bullets, done to split the scene. Next week will solve your problems. But now, his fingers holding the Lord.
So we got a reference to Tonto, Silver, I think. Although I think he said Silver Bullet, but nonetheless, Tonto is all I really need to know that we're kind of in Lone Ranger territory here. It's interesting. Other than that, it's pretty hard to pick up on these lyrics. I don't know, for me anyway.
But now, his fingers holding the Lord. The buffaloes stand empty. Say good to your TV set. There's great danger. A hammer's kick will save the law. The cloak of justice. Barbarians quick to say.
Cloak of Justice, and then a reference to Robin, I think, leaving the scene or something like that. So now we're talking Batman. Now these characters have some things in common. They both fight outlaws or fight in the name of justice. They're both fictitious American heroes, though. I mean, as much as I love me some Batman, he is a bit more of a vigilante. There's some gray area there, but nonetheless, they fight outlaws. And then he launches into something about watching TV, which, I mean, I guess you could have caught either of those two characters on television at some point. That's interesting.
The cloak of justice. Barbarians quick to say. Let's look for soldiers some limbs. But now, his fingers holding the Lord. The models stand empty.
It's hard.
Say good to your TV set. Say good to your TV set. Oh.
a short little number. Um, I don't know. This is interesting. I didn't catch enough of the lyrics to really form an honest take on what's going on here. But if I had to take a shot, I mean, again, you've got references to like two fictitious characters who get shit done, and then when we're taken from those verses where we're observing those characters and sort of thrust back into reality, there's this I don't know, these references to like, I don't know, where there's something about bottles collecting dust or milk bottles, something like that. I don't know. It almost sounds like it's speaking to this generation that's getting, wrapped up in television in the idiot box, as opposed to real life and how to like affect change there. They're getting too caught up in the sort of at times mind-numbing entertainment that is provided on the television, so much to the point it's to the detriment of your everyday life. And then what's also if that is the message or the observation being made here, which I'm not 100% confident it is, but I will say if it is, this sub 220 runtime kind of makes some sense, right? Because it kind of speaks to the decrease or ever increasing attention span of the everyday consumer. So to package up this messaging as quickly and as digestible as possible for the listener, so that they can understand that they're the subject, or of the moral of the story here, then that's kind of clever in its own right. I mean, I mentioned Jack White earlier. He wrote plenty of songs that were wham bam, thank you, man, ma'am, in and out, and this is so in another way, it kind of reminds me of his writing as well. Obviously, this precedes it. God, what's Colin Newman? Is that the singer for Wire? Yeah, obviously these guys predate that, but it sounds like maybe this possibly inspired some of, White's kind of songwriting and approach. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Lots of energy, interesting messaging, at least I think. I'm sure John can clear that up for me and then some. So let's get back to him and discuss this little ball of fire.
Where's me washboard? He's back. So you had to listen to X-Line Tamer by Wire. What do you reckon?
Well, this was a brief little number, little ball of fire that it was. And you know what? By the end of it, when I started to think I was gaining clarity about the subject matter, I'm probably way off on this, but at least the perhaps false understanding that I have of the lyrical content, it kind of made sense why the song would be so brief, considering perhaps who it was messaged to. Uh, but yeah, all of that didn't start adding up until I got about three-quarters of the way to the song, and even then, I think I'm standing on shaky ground that I hope you can, solidify for me. But it opens with this jagged bit of distorted guitar that cuts through the silence. And it does so in the form of this upbeat chord progression, and there's almost a little bit of Jack White to the guitar tone here, which will garner no complaint from me. It's just an observation, and a positive one, because as we all know, I'm a huge Jack White mark. The drums fire off a little fill on the snare around the 11-second mark, which is immediately followed by this rapid fire start-stop strum pattern on the guitar. And then the voice of, I assume this is Colin Newman, if my memory serves me right. He joins the fray as he sings, "There's great danger." And then danger is echoed by one of his fellow bandmates. We always love a good, like, sort of like chant or call and response, whatever you want to label it. Newman then goes on to complete the stanza by singing, "For the loneliest ranger in town, no silver bullets," again followed by a reiterative "bullets" by his bandmate. Tonto's split the scene. So we've got more than one allusion here to the Lone Ranger in the opening verse of this track, "Hi O Silver, Away." The song shifts here as the guitars now um, tear through their chord progression without the start-stop approach of the verse, and the drums switch the beat to incorporate more of that ride cymbal that you can hear tinging away. And the energy is great thus far, but I'm catching bits and phrases in the next stanza of lyrics, and he's rather than all of it in its totality. And he sings something about next week we'll solve our problems, fingers in a line. I don't understand what the fuck that means. Then he mentions milk bottles standing empty. So, needless to say, I haven't a clue of what is being conveyed here, but it's musically it sounds good enough. He caps off this bit with a line, "Stay glued to your TV set," and TV is parroted again by a backup singer before we launch into another start-stop approach from the first verse. And this one opens with the same line as the first, but from here, Newman, um, and I only catch a couple bits. He makes these allusions to like a no cloak of justice, and then Robin's quit the scene or left the scene. I can't remember what he says exactly, but Robin's out of here. So luckily for me, I'm a comic book nerd. And from this rather scant material, I'm somewhat confident that this is an allusion to the Dark Knight himself, Batman. And there's this interesting. It's interesting in that he has now cited two fictitious American heroes: one, a former Texas Ranger who chases outlaws in the Wild West; the other, a city slicker billionaire playboy by day and masked vigilante by night. And I'm curious as to what the overall points it is in referencing them. And then they launch into that pre chorus portion again, but alas, still without me catching much more of the lyrical content. But perhaps given the content of the verses, now two of them under my belt, um, I can extrapolate from the pre chorus and the subsequent refrain that this is about folks losing themselves in mindless entertainment provided by the old idiot box, whilst we kind of let the real world around us or our time in it kind of pass by or collect dust. They repeat that refrain about staying glued to our TV set several more times, and during this, there is some nice but faint guitar work kind of noodling away about in the background. And Newman gives one more emphatic "stay glued to your TV set" before the band signals the wrap up of the progression and the song winds to an end. So yeah, this was a short piece, as I mentioned before. There's really no doubt about that, and yet it felt like it got in and got out, saying what it needed to. And I find that hilarious, given that what a struggle I had for most of this listen, picking up on what that messaging was. Also, if my semi-informed, which I guess by definition has to make it equally semi-uninformed, interpretation of the lyrics is true, then I actually appreciate its brevity, as it almost is catered to the low attention span of the intended audience. Really enjoyed the energy in this one, particularly by the drums, which I think set the raucous pace for this number really well. But, tell me more, John. Please tell me if I'm anywhere close to the mark on my, assumed meaning of this song.
This is a lot of fun, this one. As I think I mentioned before, Wire is such an interesting band, and so I'm trying to endeavor to give you different aspects of them.
And you
This
have.
is certainly one of their different aspects, and the next one will be even more different. So this track is taken from their debut album, Pink Flag, 1977. The album has been described as punk, post-punk, and art punk. The album was acclaimed on release and has since been highly influential. Today it's regarded as a landmark in the development of post-punk music. So just to reiterate, we've gone over bits of Why before in 3 other episodes of playlist. Put the link in down below. You can go and check all that out. I'll just concentrate on this album for this episode. Personnel: Bruce Gilbert, guitar; Colin Newman, vocals, guitar; Graham Lewis, bass and backing vocals; and Robert Gotobed, drums. Um, AllMusic said that Pink Flag was perhaps the most original debut album to come out of the first wave of British punk, and also recognizable yet simultaneously quite unlike anything that preceded it. Pink Flag's enduring influence pops up in hardcore, post-punk, alternative rock, and even Britpop. It still remains a fresh, invigorating listen today, a fascinating, highly inventive rethinking of punk rock and its freedom to make up your own rules. I didn't write this down actually, but part of the sort of write I was reading about this is the band put together a sort of manifesto when they first started, and things like no guitar solos was one of them. But they wanted to take the rock out of punk rock. And they were saying, how unrock can we be? And when they were looked at different sort of ways of doing things. My friend, I think I've said this before, Robbie said to me, the thing about Wire is that they're all artists. And whatever they do is through this, the sort of viewpoint of an artist. And this is a very rough starting, but the development of the band since even this as a debut is very different to other British punk going. And this is one of my favorite tracks off the album. So, retrospectively, Trouser Press called the album a brilliant 21 song suite in which the band manipulated classic rock song structure by condensing them into brief, intense explosions of attitude and energy, coming up with a collection of unforgettable tunes. 21 songs, running time 35 minutes.
Love it.
This
They're
is one of the
definitely keeping
longest
the
songs.
punk in there for sure.
Yeah. The preceding the Free Girl Rumba was a 1 minute 40 or something. It's a fantastic song as well. That's if you can get away with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that some Guided by Voices do that as well. And on one of their albums I listen to, I just find it really annoying. Others it works, but yeah. So Pitchfork called the album a fractured snapshot of punk alternatively collapsing in on itself and exploding into song fragment shrapnel. They would have to spoil things, wouldn't they? So the lyrics, really interesting lyrics and funny, and not necessarily full of meaning. But there's great danger from the loneliest ranger in town. Nova Silver bullets, Tonto split the scene. Next week will solve your problems, but now fish fingers all in a line. The milk bottles stand empty. Stay glued to your TV set. TV. There's great danger. At hand, most Cape Crusader of all. No cook of justice. Robins, quit the scene. Next week we'll solve your problems, but now, fish fingers all in a line. The milk bottles stand empty. Stay glued to your TV set. TV. And it goes into TV. Stay glued to your TV set. TV. Oh. TV. Stay glued to your TV set. TV. Oh. TV. Stay glued to your TV set. TV. TV, stay glued to your TV set. TV, oh. TV, stay glued to your TV set. TV, oh, why don't you? TV, stay glued to your TV set. TV, stay glued to your TV set. Oh, why don't you? TV, stay glued to your TV set. TV. And that's the end. So, the title, X Line Tamer, is a reference to the song's original lyrics, which were completely different and involved a line tamer. At some point, the band scrapped them entirely and wrote new lyrics. And instead of giving the track a new name, they simply added the X at the front of its working title.
You can't get more inside than that.
Fantastic. It just shows their mindset. Reselect.com said X Line Tamer, for my money, is simply one of the high points in the entire history of punk. It's a cynical jab at those who would live their lives via television rather than the real world. Just as relevant, maybe more so today as it was then, right down to the fish fingers. Yeah. Although it would be expanded to say, stay glued to your computer / smartphone / tablets.
Exactly.
That wouldn't have fit into the song's meter nearly as well.
But what's interesting, if my presumption about the meaning is right, it sort of sounds like that was somewhat confirmed there. We're at a stage now with the internet where these guys would have been with the advent of television. We're 35 or so years, give or take, into this experiment with the internet at this point, and they would have been, again, give or take, around the same amount of time having had the TV as a modern appliance in most households. So there, even if you're not, even if you didn't live that, you can clearly see that there's this correlative nature to these two paradigm shifts.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really interesting thing for them to put on their debut album.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Their punk album. So Let's Talk Music website. Lyrically, it's a masterpiece with the modernity of the lives of television viewers juxtaposed against the faux thrills that the box provides.
Yeah. Yeah.
It acknowledges the boredom of the modern age and how entertainment can numb us to reality. We become invested in the great danger that TV series provide, while surrounded by fish fingers all in a line and milk bottles that stand empty. Don't worry if you're unhappy with reality. Next week will solve your problems. This dystopic tone becomes further emphasized by the ominous mantra, stay glued to your TV set. The moronic cries of TV in the back and vocals making the listener feel damn uncomfortable. But it's not too patronizing. While I definitely sound complicit in this system, with the narrator seeming to acknowledge just how exciting TV can be from first-hand experience. He goes on to say, what I've always loved about Pink Flag is how ordinary Wire seem on the album. They don't sound like punk heroes, brackets The Clash, or punk anti-heroes, brackets Sex Pistols. They sound like normal lads who picked up guitars and decided to get everything wrong with for the world off their chest. The next line, Tamer, is the peak of that endeavor. So yeah, although the album has received huge acclaim, it was never a big seller. But it was listed at 310 on Rolling Stone's list of 500 greatest albums of all time in their 2020 edition, and number 378 in Enemy's list with the same name in 2013. Pitchfork ranked Pink Flag number 22 in its list of top 100 albums of the 70s. The album was included in the book 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Eat Your Fish Fingers. I think we've been on this page before. 77 has got to be a fairly common one. So there is Pink Flag, which I probably mentioned before, on the same page. Bowie, Low, one of the greatest albums of all time. There's a John Martin album on there. We've got Talking Heads on the next page, 77. Wow. Heroes, Rumours. We go the other way, as they say. We got The Clash, The Clash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be a stinker. It's got to be. No? ELO, Out of the Blue, which I absolutely love. Weather Report, Muddy Waters, and The Stranglers, Ratus Norvetus. What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
I was 7. So yeah, REM frontman Michael Stipe cited Pink Flag as a huge influence, and actually REM covered the song Strange from this album on their 1987 album Document. Britpop band Elastica were influenced by Wire. They used a riff from that of Three Girl Rumba for their song Connection. You may have heard it somewhere recently. Who knows? And Husker Du bassist Greg Norton listed Pink Flag as one of his 3 favorite punk albums of all time. So there you go. Bit of flavor of Pink Flag there. They're all brief Snapchats as they were. But yeah, real fun. I just love the energy in this. This is it is a punk song, but it's actually a bit more, you can tell it's just a bit more to it than your average punk song. Even just musically, very simple, but again, there's still a lot more going on. It's just they're clever buggers, and they were right at the start, and they just got more clever. They did disappear up their own fundament for a little while, but they're a great, great band. And yeah, the next one I give you is going to be a very different flavor again. So yeah, interesting band, interesting sound, interesting guys.
I look forward to hearing it.
Cool. All right, I shall wrap things up. Thanks for listening, Andy.
Thank you.
Folks out there, please do hit the like button if you like this. And drop some comments. We'd love to hear what you think about this song. Is it your favorite song off this album, if you're familiar with this album? If you're not, then we'd love to hear what you think about hearing this for the first time. So yeah, fill your boots, as it were. Very interesting to hear what you've got to say. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We'd really appreciate everybody who does support the channel. So hop on board and take the plunge jump off that building ledge and swim through that tunnel. Do it. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.